And so we did it again. 4 seasons, 47 episodes. Amazing. The poems I love, ladies and gentlemen. Well, thank you for keeping with us through all this time. 47 episodes. I'm delighted. I'm happy we made it this far. And thanks to you, all our viewers, or everyone, every fan and lover of the poems I love. We want to say thank you for keeping with us. And let me tell you that we still got more. And that's why we are here, right here, for the season finale of season 4. And as always, as we like to do it, we want to ensure that, you can just take a sit back, look into everything that went down in the last episodes, 11 episodes, by the way. I mean, with individuals, different individuals coming from different walks of life, backgrounds, talking about their favorite poems, sharing with us and sharing to the world what has, the poems that continue to inspire them. And also, we have been able to draw inspiration and also learn one or two things and also discover new poems. Personally, for me, through the poems I love, I've been able to discover new poems. I've been able to discover new people. I mean, you would never imagine different types of artists, different types of poets, just writing stuff, writing inspirational, writing quality poems for your listening pleasure. And I'm super delighted to be here right here. My name is Kayode Sanni, and I have with me two amazing people. Let me start on my left. Let me start with my left. I have the one and only Ibitomi. Good day to you.
Good day.
Such a pleasure to have you.
It's and on the right, yes.
Too. And on the right, I have the man himself. I wouldn't want to go into all the details because he knows that we can go there. But today, we just want to be gentle on him. Today, we have with us the one and only Servio Gbadamosi right here with us. Good day to you, sir.
Good day. It's a pleasure to be here, as always.
Amazing. So, I think I'll start with the man himself. By the way, he's the executive producer for the poems I love. Let's get an insight into the process so far. For every season finale, we'll come here at the season finale for the first season we're here, for the second season we're here, third season, and yet the end of the fourth season. What does it feel like?
Well, it's been a worthwhile journey, as it is with most things or most tasks that I and the team accomplish. There is joy. Everybody is happy, but more importantly, there's a huge feeling of relief. We don't finally do this one now. Let's move on. So we take a breather and then we say, let's move on to whatever task or assignment or goal is next. So it's been a rewarding journey. I'm happy that we've been able to sustain this for 47 episodes. This is the 48th. The 48th episode. So week in, week out, we have been consistently recording and bringing new poets and new poems with you, our audience. And it's part of the original vision, which is to be able to not just document the classics, but also to be able to showcase and document the works of contemporary poets across Nigeria. So, it's been a rewarding journey. I'm happy that look at the long line of poets from different parts of the country that have been on the program. And we even have more. We have more that we are currently recording. So we can't wait to share the rest of the journey with you, our audience.
Amazing. For Pekule, I think my question will be to say that this is the end of the fourth season, and we've had several people. If you look at especially for this season that we are ending with, if you look at the crop of individuals, what would you say distinguishes the combination? Because for me personally, if you ask me, I think it's like salad. Everything that just makes it a whole. But for you, what does it feel like looking at the crop of different individuals coming on board?
Okay, thank you for your question. I actually agree with that, because when I was looking at the episodes in preparation for this, I noticed the energy from different persons, the kind of prompts they read, the performance, the way it was delivered, and it just looked like I fell in love with poetry for the first time. Before now, poetry would be the last thing I would consider. Actually, I would pick a play, I would pick a prose, but poetry, maybe something along the line. But this time around, I watched the episodes again, and then it looks like this was my first time falling in love with poetry, and that was because of the way it was delivered. by those that came on the show. The energy, the way it was performed, you could see them putting their heart into it. You could feel the poems in the way they delivered it, and it made the whole time watching it made it worthwhile.
Amazing. You know, thinking about the poems read from the heart, I think two stands out for me.
Honestly,
Mr. Susuri Veshma again,
I agree,
and Fatia too. Fatia read the first one she read about I've forgotten the title of that one.
Yeah, revolving around grief.
Yes, right. I mean, so
I think I would add a third person, which is Kerimot Odebode.
Yeah,
so the first one she read, which according to her she said was her introduction into poetry. The way she read, because according to her said it was a poem to be read and to be performed. So I could see the gestures. Yeah, actually. I could feel the energy too.
Amazing. Let me turn to Mr. Servio. If you looking at the this season that we are ending with, what would you consider as your I'm trying to put you on the spot. I'm actually intentionally putting you on the spot. Which would you consider your favorite episode?
Well, I wouldn't, as like you can write it, like I'm sure you would have been able to predict. I wouldn't want to particularly say that this is my favorite episode out of the 11 that ran this season. But of course, there were lots of favorite poems that were read by the different guests that appeared on the episodes. For example, there is one of my favorite poems is the love song of J. Alfred Pufrock by T.S. Eliot, which was read by Paul Liam, and then of course there is that other reading poem from Mahmoud Darwish. Of course, my good friend Swedi read from his first book of poetry, Bring Our Casket Home, Tales One Shouldn't Tell. And Fetia Quadri Eniola read Self-Portrait with Phonemic Analysis by Abdulkarim. And that is one hell of a poem. that's one hell of a poem that there's a particularly fantastic way in which it draws you into the grief behind the narrative that powers that particular poem. And our reading of it was so evocative, right? So evocative. And then you have, of course, Pamela Jacob, who read Invitation by Mary Oliver. And, you know, so many beautiful poems. You had that one that was read by Karimot Olabisi Odebode, Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou. You also had Oduode read. You know, we had Carl Teve, we had Oko Uwecho. You know, it's a fantastic. We had Oluwatobi Moses Shotomide, who read from Tade Kwadeola's award-winning collection, The Sahara Testament. So what is there not to love about this particular season of the poems I love? You get. So there's so much. There's so many poems that I really love that I've read over time, that I've read over time and I've particularly enjoyed. So it's a joy, it's a delight to be able to bring them together in this season. And you know, the beautiful thing is that most times rather, or let me say all the time, we give liberty to the guests all the time to determine what they are reading, what they are sharing, and how they choose to approach it. So it then it brings a feeling of joy, elation, fulfillment when they then go on to read some of the poems that one has read and enjoyed and resonated with over time, where you find that no, these works are actually crisscrossing the globe and interacting and getting people to experience them. You read from their own encounter or experience with the poem, and a bit of it, as always, would be common to all the readers who have come across that poem. So it's that joy, it's that feeling of, oh wow, so nobody only me enjoy this too.
So another thing that I noticed about this season is that it's almost as though for every season we have these poets come up again and again. So two that stands out for me, J.P. Clark's Ibadan.
Yes.
was in this season.
Yes.
Not My Business, Neo Shindari
By
was
Professor Neo Shindari.
Neo Shindari was in this season. And these two names are somewhat, I don't know if you look at season 1, season 2, season 3, these two names have consistently showed up for all of the seasons and the different episodes. And this question is to both of you. What do you think? Why do you think we keep having that phenomenon?
Okay. Am I going first?
Go first, please.
Okay. So for this particular season, I know Kerimot read both Not My Business by Neo Shindari and then Ibadan by JP Clark. I think the reason why she read Ibadan is almost obvious because it's almost obvious the reason why she read Ibadan. And honestly speaking, like you said, it's reoccurring across the seasons. And I think the primary reason is because we all find a place where we can relate with it across. So even if you are not from Ibadan, if you come into Ibadan, you spend a few days, you spend a few weeks, and you are observant, you will see some of these things highlighted in these poems in the city of Ibadan. The fact that it has brown roofs and all of that, it is scattered. Look at the landscape. If you go through Mokola, you're going probably towards UI, and then you pass through probably Aleshinloye Junction, and then you look from probably you're inside a cab or whatever, you see the roofs. So there are things you can relate to. So even if you are not from Ibadan, so I think that's the primary reason why so many people are able to relate with it. Then for Not My Business by Neo Shindari, I think regardless of the time in which he had published it or he had written it, it is still something relevant today. It is. I don't know how old the collection is or how many years ago it was written, but it is still so much relevant today because more recently we now have people, probably because they are tired. Let's even say maybe in Nigeria, probably because they are tired. Now the weapon against injustice is we all just keep quiet. We all just silent. It's not my business. There are killings in the northeast. There are killings in the southeast. Wherever is happening, kidneys, ritualists, kidnapping, whatever, it's not my business. So far, it's not knocking on my door. And that was why if you read through the poem, so eventually when it came knocking on the door, the hungry hands froze for a few seconds. They're like, you mean it's my turn already and all that? And that's what happens to injustice. When you are quiet or you are silent against it. And it's, for me, I consider it as a way of supporting it. So far, you are not speaking against it, or you are just silent, but you are aware. So when you keep quiet, for me, it is just another means or another approach of supporting the injustice. And injustice, we don't even need to look at it on a large scale. Injustice can be in the family. Injustice can be among secondary school students. We have so many cases and instances of bullying. So it does not have to be in a big space. Probably you're in the market and then something is happening. You are trying to make a purchase. So it can be anywhere. It's not limited to just political injustice. You have an opportunity or whatsoever. So Not My Business is still something that is still relevant.
I mean, just before I get the thought of Mr. Servio, I think that's a very fantastic point you've made, and it's just to show that poetry is simply a reflection of our daily life, our daily experiences, and that's why poetry, I think, feels home for some of us, because by the time you read it, you can definitely relate with it. It speaks to your reality. So, but let's hear from Mr. Servio,
the poet himself,
the incredible poet himself. Looking at these names, these names consistently show up for every of the seasons and the episodes, and the different episodes. Professor Neo Shindari, JP Clark. I'm sure that we also have some other names, because I think in this season, so I think Professor Igini's Equasis also surfaced, and by the time you look back again, you see that his name was showing up somehow.
Mahmoud Darwish too.
Mahmoud Darwish.
Wassan Shire too, as well.
What do you think is bringing about this phenomenon?
I think it's in the beauty of the experience, of the unique experiences, or the unique universal experiences that these poems retell, and how it has been able to connect with audiences across the world. And it's incredible what poets really do with words, because like that, to paraphrase what the late Chinua Achebe said back in time, let no one be fooled by the fact that we write in English language, because we intend to do with it amazing things the world has never seen before. And so, if you look at the two poems in focus right now, Ibadan by J.P. Clark and then Not My Business by Niyi Oshundari. Of course, we live in the city of Ibadan. Of course, I was born here. I've lived a substantial part of my life in this city, and it's unique. I've been to that part of town where J.P. Clark was said to have stood and taken that bird's eye view that later on inspired the poem. And occasionally one still drives by that area, and every time I see the brown rusted roofs, the poem immediately comes to mind. It's like one is reliving that experience. So that's a constant for me. So I'm not surprised that anybody who has been to Ibadan readily resorts to that poem or easily connects with it. It's also one of the things that I personally suspect inspired the anthology, which was edited by Odia Ofeimon, Lagos of the Poets, because you then have poets come together exploring the cityscape and talking about, the not just city experiences, but also the geography and the culture, the human experiences and the inhuman experiences also happening in that city. And the world around us, even if we limit it to just our country, right, it's a combination of contradictions. And we experience the good, the bad, you see the beauty, you see the ugliness of not just the cityscape, the geography, the landscape, but also in the human interactions and the communality, that one experiences on a daily basis. So she said a lot about how that poem speaks to our underdevelopment, to the politicking, to the corruption, and to the injustice, to the lack of social amenities, to the fact that in the past 2, 3, 4 decades, there's been an increasing rise in the adoption of individualism in our society. And it is individualism that is encouraged by the fact that most of us now live in cocoons. We are cocooned in our apartments, in our flats, in our bungalows in the city area. And, as it is with most family settings now, I marry and then it is me and my wife, me and my husband, until you begin to have kids and the kids want to kill you and you discover that you need additional help and you begin to reach out to, your support network and all of that. So before now, growing up, it was much more communal living. If something affects you, if something happens to my neighbor, I am affected by it. I used to play all around the neighborhood when I was younger. Play football, play play all sort of nasty games, right? Because that was what children of that era were doing. Now, most parents don't feel safe for their children to just go to the neighbor's apartment or even play outdoor. I grew up in a different world, and now you have children becoming couch potatoes, always sitting with some device, watching cartoon, playing some games online. And I'm like, there's a lot of things that physical activities did to us as children. By the time you run around the football pitch or the neighborhood like 10, 20, 30 times, when you reach out, my brother, your energy don't drop. Now to just go sleep. You understand? And then everybody was watching out for you. If I did something wrong, and any of the neighbors or anybody in the neighborhood saw me doing it, be rest assured that my mom, my dad will get to know about it. Now, you see people doing things and everybody feels like, what's it concern me?
Just look at it.
It's the rise of individualism, and, like that other famous saying that said, when they came for the Jews, I was quiet, I was quiet because I was not a Jew. Then they came for some other people, But when they then came for this same person, there was nobody left to speak for this person. So it's beyond the comfort and relative safety that individualism, that living in our own words, offers. We need to know that the society exists for the common good of all. If something goes wrong, if you have an headache, I have one too.
So very quickly, 2 questions, one for you, one for him. So this one now is looking ahead now. looking at the episodes that are coming up, what are you expecting? What do you hope that we produce in terms of the in terms of gender now? That is it that we need more women, or how would you speak to that?
Okay, looking ahead, I think I want to see more women on the show, and as I also noticed that Fatia and Kerimot, who appeared in this particular season, one of the poems they both read had to do with women. So, for instance, it might not be common for you to see a man come on the show and read something that primarily speaks to the women audience or to the female gender, but it's not going to be out of place for a female to come on the show, and then because this is something that affects us as a collective, not as an individual. Now the person can deliver, the person can perform, the person can express that particular poem because it relates to us. The challenges, the issues are common to us. And then, for instance, if a woman is reading that particular, you might not really be able to relate. You might be able to identify a few things. But for me, as part of the audience, if I sit back, relax, and I watch them, there are things like I can readily relate to. So I look forward to seeing more women on the show, because I know when they come on the show, would have more poems that express or that observes and then gives that brings extraordinary ways to those ordinary things we experience as women in our daily lives.
I think that's a very fantastic idea. So I think my question for Mr. Servio is, looking ahead, what are we to expect on the next season of The Point I Love?
New poets, new poems, new experiences, new readers, new works here and there. I'm particularly grateful that this particular season we've had. Yes, we discussed a little bit. We discussed earlier, some of the recurring poets whose works have been read a couple of times through the 4 seasons. But also in this particular season, we had new poets come on. Yeah. We had Jackie Bankongobi, who appeared in season 3 of the podcast. Then we had works where we had 2 poems read, 2 poems by Romeo Oriogun read in this particular one. We had a poem by Jumoke Verissimo. We had a poem by Sadiq Zukogi. We had a poem by Samuel Adeyemi.
Blessing read his own poem too.
Blessing Omeza read his own poems. Odiode also read a poem of his, and all of that. So I am glad that new works are being presented for the world to enjoy, for the world to know about, and I look forward to not just having new poets, but also experiencing new works by poets from different parts of the world.
Amazing. So that's it right there. You've heard it all. And so all we just ask is that you keep supporting us. Keep supporting us by watching, by liking, by sharing all the episodes right from season 1. If it happens that you're just seeing it for the first time, please go back to the season 1. I'm sure that you find something beneficial for you, find something entertaining for you. Like I said, please keep supporting us. Wherever you see us, share what we have going on. You can also follow us on social media across board at Ibadan Festival. Very simple, at Ibadan Festival. Just to catch up with all of the new things we are coming up with. And also, you can also catch us on our website, www.ibadanfestival.com. Simple, www.ibadanfestival.com, just to catch up with all of our upcoming events. And I'm sure that you're going to find something that you'll enjoy in all of these things that we're doing. Special thanks to my guest, Mr. Servio Gbadamosi. Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you very much. My name is Kayode Sanni, and we have to wrap up now. See you next time. Bye.